Hi, this is Bill. So on this demo, I'll be showing you how to integrate with third-party REST API using GlideAjax in client scripts and script include. Now, what you're seeing now is you can see that a result has been provided using g_form add info message. And by on change on the description, our client script will kick off. So let us now move forward on the application we are integrating to. So we reuse this dummy REST API example, and the endpoint that we have used is doing a get on a single record. Now, the behavior of this application, you will see as I click, it will run this URL and passing the ID 1 to be able to get the record of Tiger Nixon. Now, to be able to integrate on a third-party application with ServiceNow, you initially need to use the outbound REST message capability of ServiceNow. And eventually, I started on creating a REST message and using the root endpoint to take hold of the multiple calls on this API. And eventually, this third-party application doesn't require any authentication. And as we drill down to get employee, you will see that we have dynamically created a variable using $employee ID. And as you auto-generate variables, it will automatically create this test calls. Now, the behavior of this dummy API, it doesn't allow you to have multiple calls, probably for performance purposes, so since it will basically need additional resources. But for testing purposes, it will give you a picture on how to integrate with third-party API. And on the left, ServiceNow is making our life easy by clicking this previous script usage, and it will provide you a template on how to integrate with third-party applications. So now you will notice that the first line of code is providing us the name of the REST message and the method that we will be using. So eventually, to give you a picture, this is get employee, and this is the name of our REST message. As we go back, you will see that the variable that we created is automatically injected and eventually is hard-coded to 1. And I will show you that I have optimized this code using a service-oriented architecture. And I'll walk you through every step of the way on how to fully integrate with a third-party application. So let's start with the client script. So I created fetch employee details, and in this example, we will be using the incident record, and on change of a field description, and this script will happen. So from our previous lessons, we have created a UI script calling AjaxClient, and nothing has been changed on that specific class. So I recommend for you to watch my previous video to give you a full picture on how you could dynamically pass any type of parameter in your Ajax calls. So eventually, I have hard-coded line 7, but dynamically you can get the field data using the g_form object. Now we are passing a request to get employee ID as an action and passing this field. And as you can see, the send request receives 3 parameters: the action, the data, and the callback as well. Now let us move forward to the UI script entity that we created. So by best practice, we standardize the receiving model or the object to ensure the correct parameters are received correctly. And as we already know that the employee will be receiving multiple fields from ID, employee, and so on. As we already know the structure of what we'll be passing and receiving, so we created a to JSON conversion and also a from JSON conversion, making it easy for you to convert from one type to the other. Now let us move forward to the server side. As we move here, we created an employee Ajax, and what's inside of it is we are calling the BaseAjaxProcessor, since from our previous lessons that we have demoed that the abstract Ajax processor is tightly coupled. So I created another class to be able to extend and add functionalities in making Ajax calls. As you can see now here, that we can pass any type of parameter, any type of service, and any type of function. So as this calls the Ajax processor, the BaseAjaxProcessor, now it will call the employee service. And on this employee service, you will see that we are using dependency injection to hold the repository and our global logger. Since we are only getting employee by ID, you can see now the payload is now converted, right? Receiving the employee ID since the structure of the JSON has already been established. Now passing the employee ID to the repository, then the results, right, is captured either successful or not successful. And upon a successful fetch, right, you will see that the employee data will be captured and returned successfully. And as we have created a response object, so upon success, you'll get both the message, manage the message, and also be able to consume the data. Now, as we move forward to the employee repository, you will see here on how we managed to optimize the API calls, which was initially created by ServiceNow. And by calling the fetch employee ID, now dynamically we can pass or call and get an employee by its ID, getting the response and the response body and the HTTP status code. Now, if it's not successful, it will be returning an error. So we are basically managing and controlling the return of the HTTP object. Now, if it is successful, we will be parsing the response body and returning and passing back to the client side respectively to its designated parameters. Since we have logged every step of the way, you will see that in the system logs, you will have full tracking capability, debugging features, finding out that if your code is successful, further protecting your application, making it reliable, scalable to any type of response. Since a third-party application is something you don't have control on, and as we move forward, I'll show you different software patterns and architectural techniques to ensure your code is reliable using different techniques of JavaScript and of course the ServiceNow platform. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for more.